Hi, everybody. I'm Mike from Words of Film By, along with Rich Cotieri and Scott Graham. And Ted Mettis has joined us, and anybody else that's out there digitally floating around on a megabyte. Hello. Hope you're all well. Hey, so you know, we've been talking this on Thursdays. We try to talk about what's going on, what's new, what's trending in the industry, along with AI. It's a whole kind of thing. Scott brought up a good comment. Can you imagine what's going to be like in 10 years? Yeah, I can. Before it was just imagining it, and now it really it's amazing the resources at our fingertips. Um, you know, even in the interactivity with Gemini and some of the new tools that Google's making available too, and some of the things that we're going to have available, it's really helpful to help with your story. Um, you know, it's kind of like saying, hey, our book Words to Film By is the rules for the road. Well, this is kind of like navigating the future of film and storytelling. What are the trends and strategies for creators, for this year and beyond. um it, it's a wealth of resources and products that are being made available to creators. It's really exciting for anybody that's aspiring, early in their film careers, and the landscape is going to be less daunted by giant obstacles, and but even more so now is there's going to be a lot more to choose from, as if there isn't now. There's a lot to choose from, and you know thousands of projects instead of like 1,000 projects that would get done a year, maybe worldwide, and maybe 10, 20 would come to the market and make any kind of noise. Now there's so much to choose from any language that's being even translated into English. So it's better that, you have a good structure, good dynamic to be able to compete in that new marketplace. It's all about telling stories and keeping people engaged. So,
What's interesting too is that even what we're going to discuss today, the information we're going to give out today, that we have access to this, what's trending, what's not trending. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that
yeah,
we have access to that knowledge.
we don't have to go to an actuary and pay him thousands of dollars to try to figure out, hey, what's the trend?
What are they looking for to buy, or what are they looking for to even as filmmakers? What is distribution looking to put out there, right? Because you can make a movie, then you have to get it distributed and all that kind of stuff. So it's even for that reason alone, it's quite amazing.
Oh yeah. I mean, even some of the new stuff that's, I mean, they've always toyed around a little bit talking about virtual reality and,
Sure.
more immersive type stories. I mean, I remember, God, it had to be 30 years ago, on beta and VHS tapes. There was an option to be able to change the story, pick a different ending. When they started playing around with a little bit of that, and it had caught on with a handful of people, but it never really grew. It was just like we had a 3D TV. We got it because it was on sale. Never really watched a 3D movie because there wasn't a lot of content out there. They gave us the glasses and this big 65-inch screen TV that we probably couldn't have afforded, but we got a deal on it because they weren't selling. Beautiful TV. Still got it, but I still have yet to see a 3D movie on it. So, you know, whereas augmented reality, when you write for augmented reality and alternative stuff, it's almost like writing for video games. It's like, okay, here's a scenario, you know, this is how the movie's going, but if this viewer decides to change his mind, say, I want to go in this direction, want to go, you have to make those choices available to say, hey, and it's really, it does sound novelesque, but it really is intriguing for a creative mind. You don't have to be a screenwriter or a filmmaker or a content creator to have a creative mind. You just
True. Everybody has one.
Yeah, everybody has one. You just want to be entertained, you know. So, extended reality too is another thing that they've been playing around with. Say, hey, what happens after? And not waiting for a sequel. So there's a lot of neat stuff coming down the pipe, as far as that goes. Um, you know,
Let's talk about what's gaining traction right now. What genres are gaining traction? Horror is right now the number one thing that's which I'm not a fan of personally, but horror is right now the number one thing that's gaining traction on screenplays.
no kidding.
Yeah, horror is gaining traction, and the blending of romance and genre blending is like is gaining traction also. So like rom coms and things like that, I'm sure are gaining traction. But horror again, could you explain that to me?
Yeah, I think people have always wanted to get a little scared. I mean, Shyamalan really changed it and what a rough path for him. Hey, you get a really big big hit, and
Right,
it's like you spend a lifetime trying to top it, you
right,
know. It's so creative, what was it, Sixth Sense, which has been spoofed a million times too. The Sixth Sense by Dan Casey, as we know. But yeah, there's always been that I know Ted probably would enjoy that one. Um, it's there is that fascination with the unknown, the fascination with a little bit of fear, a little bit of and you know what? There's a lot of the same. I know people that like watching cheesy horror because it
right,
entertains them. I mean, that's
right,
just what they want. That's what they want to shoot. They have their viewers that want to see it because that's the style that they like. But there's also those people that aren't really horror fans, but just you know want that edginess of a story. What constitute a horror? Like I have no interest in any of the serial killer stories and stuff. I think it kind of ran its gamut. Would I write one? Sure. If I'm paid to, sure. Why not? It can be thought provoking, and there's always a different story, especially on a series that you could take it here or there. I mean, the ultimate was, Hannibal Lecter. What a reality-based horror story. Not the kind of supernatural stuff, and which all sells. I mean, it sells. It sells more during certain times of the year, like Halloween, and
right. You
in
know what else? You
Europe
know
Apocrypha.
you know what else is selling is they call them like cozy stories.
Hallmark Channel.
Things set in small little towns or lighthearted fantasy adventures or like light comedies. Those are selling now. Those are like number two, I would say, in the marketplace. That's people are just stressed out about things, so that's what's people are looking for that kind of thing too. That's like number two right now, trending.
Uh, it's speculative fiction. You know.
Yeah, yeah. People hitting like the human themes in a very gentle way. They don't want to think. They just
Right.
want to feel cozy.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Like the Stepford Wives. That's kind of a metaphysical, dystopia. There's a few things, what is it? Human. There was one human, or what we are, or the Last of Us. That's what it was. The Last of Us. Those kind of dystopian stories, you know. Um, you know. Then there's a lot of the cause-related stories that are out there that people really want to enjoy, and especially for those people from that genre, that's why can you be all things to all people? Well, yeah, but it's like being able
Art,
to write it. Write what you know is good, but write what you researched. If you're
right?
paid to write something, you're going to learn about it as much as you can. Nothing like an expert writing on a subject that they're best about. But if you get hired to pull that in,
But that's why it's so important. Also, this is off track, but it's not off track. That's why it's so important, guys, when you go to have meetings that you have two or three different scripts with two or three different genres. So when they say, "Do you have anything else?" That's that's another reason why they're saying that. Because what you have might be good, but if it's not trending and they can't sell it right now, that's why they're also asking you, "Do you have anything else?"
yeah, and who you're going to read for, you should always research what else they've done, who else they've promoted, and
Or what and what else did they just buy? Like,
Yeah.
can you
What have
find
they
out
bought? What have they been buying?
what
Yeah.
have they been? What are they looking? What are they trending? What are they buying? What are they looking to do? You know.
One of the things too, a great way for a writer to get into the market is to find some of the film schools, that are looking for writers that want to shoot either a short or a quick feature, with a low budget. You can, like we've put together a few of those, where it's a minimal location, you're writing it with the producer's hat on, but still keeping creative. Adventures in Speed Dating was one of them. It was a real minimal location thing, and you kept people engaged for half hour. So, and then what's going to happen next week? So that was very, very written very well with a producer's hat and
Can you guys hear that noise in the background by any chance?
yeah. Is that the dog pushing a bowl?
My dog just went into the recycling and took out a plastic bottle, so I apologize.
It's okay.
It's too loud. I'll just have to take it.
You,
All right,
you can't make your dog sad.
stop. The other thing that's hot right now is animation, but it's animation for children, and it's not. It is animation, but like they're calling it like hyper realism. So it's like it's 3D, but like used with CGI and really high tech, but for kids.
So is that more like the motion graphics, or is it more detailed than that?
I don't know. It just says what I read was just like it's calling it like almost a hybrid of the newest thing out there,
Hmm.
but not your traditional, animation for kids. That's not selling.
It's I look at now my youngest son now is 17. I look at his friends. Most of them don't watch TV. He'll pick a movie maybe to hang out with his folks.
Right,
He loved The Reacher and he loved a lot of those. He loved SWAT, so we went through a lot of the series together. Watched one of those, and then off to Game Land. Other than homework, his friends, and then he's got soccer and track. But most of them, I'll ask them. Are you watching a series? You watch anything on TV? Nah,
yeah, my
nah.
kids,
You
yeah,
know, they make their own stories with the gaming. You know,
yes, yeah, yeah,
I mean, what did we do when we were younger? It's like there was a TV show called Combat. Rick
right,
Jason and Vic Morrow, and we'd run outside
right,
and play combat. We'd play Army. We didn't have video games.
right,
So
yeah.
like,
I have a list here real quick if you want me to go over it real quick.
yeah, let's see.
Right now I get horror is number one. It's the hottest right now that's selling. Black horror, hot. Grounded speculative fiction, hot. Romanticism, hot. Cozy comfort, like I said, hot. Hidden histories, warm and rising. Interesting. Indie films, warm, maybe rising. Rom-coms, cooling.
Really?
Yeah. Standard action, evolving. Interesting. Like I said, traditional animation, very iffy. But the other animation I was talking about with you guys is very hot. Yeah, so that's the list that I was researching, but that's what came up with right now. What's hot? But the rom-com is cooling.
Maybe
That's
when it
amazing
comes to
that
the
it's cooling.
kids 3D stuff, maybe they're talking about like the movie Flow. You know what I'm talking about? That's animated 3D. It was done in Blender.
Yep,
That's
that could be.
very big. I know
Yeah,
the Bible movie right now is doing really well. It's like 50 million. They just went out and got a bunch more theaters that's high into animation that I haven't seen it. I don't watch TV, so I've only seen small clips on like YouTube. But I saw the rags. They were saying it was making big money,
yeah.
more screens.
Wow.
But this like today is like just another example, and we've all four of us have talked about this actually. It's about show business. Like this is part of for writers. This is part of your business. To get off the typewriter and go on the computer typewriter. That's how old I am. Get away from the pencil and the pad. And
Put that white out down
which
there.
I still
You'll
write.
never take my pencil and pad from me. Sorry.
Listen, I still write. Look, I still write with this damn. You can't say it, but that's what I still write. Um, yeah, and you get on the computer and research and research and research, you know. And again, the other lesson I think today for me is to tell everybody, and Mike and everybody, is just you need to have a number of scripts ready. So when they ask you, that's one of the reasons they're asking. It's not just because they might have that idea or they don't like the idea. It could be that, but it also could be like, hey, we're not selling those now. We're selling horror, or we're selling animation, or we're selling, you know, we don't want your rom-com. They're cold. Be ready, be prepared. You know, I think that's also the lesson. And do your homework, because it is show business.
Yeah, and have your tools at hand, like
Yes.
you know, having a pitch, having your pitch down. You know, like what's the pitch of the story, and be ready to jump to the next one. But having a, you know, if you're pitching a series, series, make sure you put together a series Bible. It's all it is you're taking up some of your time to write on spec and come up with episode ideas and show some imagery. You know, make a, you know, proposed cast if you want. You know, where it's like, hey, I like this actor, and especially if you're pitching to some producer or a distribution company that has a certain you know, consistent uh, you know, tailored actor list that they use all the time, then, you know, make sure that you include some of those in there, because there might be a relationship between those actors and the production company. You should know all that stuff before you go in. You know, that way you know that, hey, I got this guy interested and I'm coming in there with him. I mean, you could find an actor, get him, you know, that has some numbers, and get him to be interested in it, and, you know, take him as one of your things in your secret box, and you walk in the door.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in there with Liam Hemsworth, like the one guy did, and you got yourself a movie.
You greenlit. Yeah,
Here's $6 million. Make your movie.
one of the things I did years ago as an actor is I took a marketing class, and it was one of the best things I ever did. Treat yourself as a business, because you are. You have to. I know a lot of artists don't think that way. They hate that part of it, but trust me, that's why you won't succeed. You have to treat yourself as a business, because you are. Get that business mind going. You can't, even if you have representation, you cannot trust them totally to do that part of your job. You must be responsible for yourself. So that's what I have to say today.
And the one thing I'll leave with everybody too is, you know, get out from behind the desk. You know, get out from behind your, you know, your iPhone and your laptop, whatever, and go meet people. There's still a big market worldwide for authenticity, you know, and vulnerability stories that the overwhelming majority of people love those. They love to hear real stories, genuine stories, relatable storytelling, you know. So you can't write about that, you know, unless you meet people, you know, of which the one Hector that we know, we have his life rights on that. And so we met him over the course of several months and got his story down. So, but that's meeting people and, you know, create strategic alliances with producers and directors. Meet other filmmakers, meet other people that are, hey, I'm looking for a story. What do you got?
And remember, guys, it's not just the United States. You have to think worldwide. It's a big world out there. You can sell your project in Australia, New Zealand, China. I mean, it's a humongous world out there. People are looking for stories all over the world. Don't just think United States. You can sell them anywhere.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
global.
Look at Parasite. Parasite exploded. That was somebody going overseas and, you know, talking. They put together an alliance, and that thing took over, went all around the world with that one. So it's great to meet people. I'd love to be mobile right now and just wander around the planet a little bit and meet some new people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what's trending. That's what's going on right now. So hopefully you guys got something out of this, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions or?
No. I'm good.
Thank you.